Mansión de los Hawkins. Pierce despierta en un manicomio situado en el sótano del Instituto Riverside. Allí conoce a la doctora Colden, una amiga de Bradley, que lo ayuda a escapar. Mientras deambula por los pasillos de las instalaciones dirigidas por el Dr. Fuller, Pierce logra hablar con un tal Francis Sanders. Antes de morir ante los ojos del detective, acusa a Sarah Hawkins de ser la causa de su tormento. Pierce consigue salir del edificio maldito junto con Bradley y Colden. Los compañeros de desventura deciden utilizar la mansión de los Hawkins como escondite.
Who goes there? That nightmare again. I need a drink.
Bueno, todo esto ya lo examinamos en su momento, en la primera visita. No creo que haya nada nuevo.
No. I want to know what Bradley and Dr. Colden have to say about all this.
Vale. Hello.
You're awake, Mr. Pierce. How do you feel?
Did I sleep long?
The day is only starting. It's fine.
How's our fugitive? Dr. Fuller hasn't reported your disappearance to the force, but that'll come soon.
Bradley?
Who else would it be?
Mr. Pierce, are you all right? You look like you saw a ghost.
There are things I can't explain.
Tell us. What happened?
I found a file bearing Sarah Hawkins' name in the Institute's basement.
It makes sense. A powerful family like the Hawkins had the means to hide such a disgrace.
But everyone knows the Fullers have been taking care of the Hawkins for at least a generation. And all were aware of Mrs. Hawkins' fragility.
Perhaps, but no one would allow a psychiatric internment.
From what I read in the file, Fuller used her as a subject of his experiments.
Francis Sanders and Sarah Hawkins, subjects of Dr. Fuller. Why those two?
Dr. Fuller seems to be leaving a trail of corpses. Not to mention those strange machines, chains, and tools of all kind.
Yes. I've been telling you that Fuller uses his patients as guinea pigs.
What I saw was more akin to torture than medicine.
Do you even hear what you're saying? Dr. Fuller is highly respected.
It's the truth, Ethan. And I'll prove it to you. I'm listening, Mr. Pierce.
Given the energy he pours into Riverside, I presume it was Fuller's creation.
His father's, to be correct. He was a surgeon on board the Scylla. He founded the hospital in 1904 with funds from the Hawkins family before he died and his son Thomas Fuller took over.
Two families inextricably linked.
Most island families are that way. Captain Fitzroy's father was also a seaman aboard the Scylla.
Powerful families dominating everything.
Yes, and as you could tell, Dr. Fuller is like some crazed emperor.
He wouldn't be happy if he knew we were snooping around.
I know the risks. I don't fear him. Do you wish to know anything else?
I have flashbacks. They haunt me.
What did they do to you?
There was that Dr. Fuller, and a nurse. Blood everywhere. My legs, the pain, I couldn't bear it. I was screaming. They injected me with something. I woke up at the Institute. Bradley was there.
And how you scared us. You seemed... demented.
You likely woke up during the anesthesia. No wonder those memories haunt you. What in God's name were they doing to you?
What happened afterwards?
When I woke up the second time, I was in a padded cell. That's where you found me, Doctor. After you released me, I got a good look at what's in store for the patients of the Riverside Institute. Hallucinogenic gas pumped into the cells. An infernal machine. Horrific medical experiments.
Impossible. Dr. Fuller would never do such a thing.
You should believe it, Ethan. What Mr. Pierce saw is precisely what I've been trying to prove. Did you discover anything else?
I met a Francis Sanders. Do you know him?
Of course, he's a patient. Or was. I haven't seen him since Dr. Fuller had him transferred to the basement.
He knew Sarah Hawkins. And that's what killed him.
What? How did he die?
I'm not sure I can explain it.
Tell me how Mr. Sanders died.
I didn't see what, but something was there, with us.
Of what do you speak?
Sanders said it was Sarah Hawkins' visitor. He spoke of it like a living being.
Sarah Hawkins? Have I missed something here? This makes no sense. I don't see how it can help crack the Hawkins case.
You really think she's involved? How could she have murdered Mr. Sanders?
Francis Sanders mentioned Mrs. Hawkins just before dying. It's no coincidence.
You know, Francis Sanders was a well-known art collector. I guess you can still pay a visit to his wife, Irene Sanders.
An art collector, you say? That's probably how they met.
If you plan on having dinner at the Sanders household, please spare the widow the tale of her late husband's suffering.
I don't agree. She deserves the truth.
But that truth may be biased. We don't know the bottom of it.
He's right. We can't ignore the truth.
But it could drive her mad.
Better madness than ignorance. Very well. I'll go to see Francis's widow. Perhaps I'll find a link between her husband's death and Sarah Hawkins.
Don't end up in the hospital this time.
I'll do my best.
Un trago para aclarar las ideas y yo creo que nos vamos. Residencia de los Sanders. Pierce, Colden y Bradley deciden unir sus fuerzas para resolver el caso Sarah Hawkins. Encuentran un rastro nuevo que seguir, el de Francis Sanders, un coleccionista de arte y amigo del artista que murió delante de Pierce. El detective va a su casa con la intención de hablar con la viuda acerca del vagabundo que mencionó el hombre antes de morir.
What can I do for you, sir?
Mrs. Sanders? I'm a private detective. We must talk about your husband and his ties to Sarah Hawkins. Can I come in?
You may. However, before we go any further, please know that my husband died yesterday.
That is precisely what brings me here.
Well, well, look who's here. you know each other.
Our paths crossed, briefly. The brave detective has a talent for sticking his nose into my business.
I bump into her every time I'm investigating someone's death.
It's a small island, Detective. My island. It's better that it's you bumping into me.
You're investigating Francis' death. Why? Who hired you?
I spoke to Francis before he died. His story suggests a link to a case I'm working on.
Well, since this business has got nothing to do with me, I'll be in your husband's office, Irene. We'll carry on later.
Very well, Miss Baker. This way, Mr. Pierce. And do make yourself comfortable. It would seem that you have much to tell me. May I inquire as to when you had the opportunity to talk to my husband?
Yesterday, I met him at the hospital. He spoke to me about Sarah Hawkins.
Oh, of course he spoke to you about her. That's all he talked about. Sarah Hawkins and her paintings. Please forgive my tone. The fact is that I have not been allowed to see him since he was interned. You, on the other hand, a perfect stranger, were able to see him and even talk with him the day he died. How was he? Were you present when he had this attack? What happened?
He started raving, screaming that a dimensional shambler had found him.
Oh, mercy, that story again. Why have him interned?
That was when he began to convulse and twist with pain. Or terror, it's hard to tell.
I beg your pardon?
I'm not really sure of what I saw, or what I didn't see. But it's best that you weren't there.
I should have been there. What you're telling me is outrageous. I need to understand. How could this happen? In a reputed institute. And right before your eyes. Did you not do anything to help him?
So ask Fuller, he's the eminent doctor. But I would caution you, you'll find his treatments more terrifying than the illnesses
Yo
he
quería
sets
probar
out to
elocuencia,
cure.
pero bueno, se me ha desviado para
Churl
abajo.
no longer takes the trouble to receive me. He sends his secretary to tell me that I cannot see Francis. Me. His own widow. He must think that I am a terrible wife for having abandoned him in such a way. But I only wanted what was best for him.
I'm not here to condemn you, Mrs. Sanders.
Oh, I'm tired, Mr. Pierce. I would be grateful if you could tell me what you expect of me, and then leave.
Did your husband talk to you about Sarah Hawkins' visitor? A shambler, to use his precise terms.
Well, you can imagine that's all he talked about. It's exhibited at the center of the gallery. No better place for the painting that endowed him with the privilege of such a shameful and miserable end to his life.
Hold on. The Shambler is a painting by Sarah Hawkins.
Who else to paint such horrors? Take a look for yourself, if you feel so inclined.
It is my only lead at this stage. I suppose I have nothing to lose.
Then you have paid no heed. For my part, I refuse to set foot in that gallery again. But if you're so eager to see it...
Thank you, Mrs. Sanders. I won't be long. Did she really care for him after all?
Estimada señora, por la presente acuso el recibo de la carta en la que nos exige el cuerpo de su fallecido marido. Siento informarle de que no puedo dar cumplimiento a su petición. En el momento de su ingreso firmó usted un documento de descargo donde me otorgaba permiso para disponer de él. Le transmito mis máximas condolencias, Thomas Fuller. Pues qué bien. Viuda y sin cuerpo.
The day the Shambler came into the Sanders' lives,
Sarah Hawkins. ¿Esto cómo vamos de puntos y eso? Hostia, 9 puntos disponibles. Y nosotros aquí haciendo el gandul. Maestro. Estoy a un punto de ocultismo y llegar al nivel 3. Qué bien. Vale. A ver, que aquí por lo visto hay algo que recrear.
Francis Sanders and Sarah Hawkins were close. Friends, even? A house of artists. A house of artists.
Por ahí, aquí está, libro.
Sanders' accession register. He wrote beside the Shambler. Finally. What did Sarah Hawkins fear so much that she didn't want to sell the painting? He finally won. Was Sanders aware of his imminent doom? She first refused to sell the painting. How did that make her feel? Was she jealous of Sarah Hawkins?
Y eso le hizo arrancarse los ojos.
I need to see it.
Cerrado.
Let's see what this cylinder has to say once it's inserted in a phonograph.
Irene, I made a mistake. I fear that it might be too late for me. Nobody should enter, except to burn everything. I never had the courage. Pay somebody to do it. He's inside my head. I see him behind my eyelids each time I shut my eyes.
Y ya está.
I can't take anymore. I can't hold him back. Forgive me.
That accursed gallery. Those accursed paintings. That accursed Sarah.
Cerrado.
A strange Amerindian pendant. I could use one of those. Strange. For months, Sarah Hawkins refused to part with her painting, to finally give it away for nothing.
Carta de Sarah Hawkins. Querido Francis, te suplico que renuncies a la idea de poseer este maldito cuadro. Si en algo valoras nuestra amistad, líbrame del peso de esa culpa. Me niego a ser responsable de tu caída. Te lo suplico, mi querido amigo. Olvídate del vagabundo. Tu amiga Sarah Hawkins.
An old diary.
Qué bien. Hello.
That's twice you've stepped on my toes, Detective. Try not to make a habit of it.
I've got a lot of bad habits.
Some can be more fatal than others. What have you come looking for in this gallery?
Another painting by Sarah Hawkins. One connected to the horrors I've discovered on this island.
What a surprise. I'm listening.
All's fair in love and war, I suppose?
Not now, sweetheart. I'd like to read this without some snoop looking over my shoulder.
No he entendido a qué ha venido lo de provocarla, pero bueno.
These artifacts date from pre-Columbian times. Why was he so interested in old weapons?
Por si acaso.
The man transformed an entire wing of his manor into an art gallery.
Ya aquí está el cuadro en cuestión. Uy, espera.
Is this dagger part of Sanders' collection, or was he seeking to acquire it?
Privado del talento de Sarah Hawkins, Sanders dibujó una daga de forma torturada con todo detalle. El guardia así un extraño símbolo esotérico, elemento recurrente en la correspondencia que mantenía con Sarah. ¿Servirá de algo si la cojo? Pues creo que la he visto por aquí. No. No. Eso es aceite. Eso tampoco. Pues nada. Si no hay más interrupciones, miraremos el cuadro. ¿Qué es eso?
What the hell was that?
Qué alegría.
What the hell was that?
Macabro.
What the hell was that? This dagger looks different.
Corre, 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 corre.
What's the matter with you? You sure you won't be needing that hand? You're losing it, Detective. At this rate, you're right. The bottle will get you before I do.
You didn't see anything.
I saw you within an inch of putting a dagger through your forearm. Did I miss something more interesting?
Sanders was right. This painting is cursed.
What are you talking about?
I was attacked by a creature. I pushed it back, I think.
I think so too.
You knew. You knew about the beast.
What are you talking about? Think yourself lucky that I saved your hand, even if it was to save my goods.
You mean me?
Don't flatter yourself, sweetheart. I'm talking about the contents of this gallery. And by the way, where do you think you're going with that dagger?
It saved my life. It's an extraordinary dagger.
You should talk to Algernon Drake. He's an antique dealer here on Darkwater. He'll tell you all about it. From what I saw in the ledgers, it was him who sold it to Sanders.
It's not your style to give me free information like that.
Take it as payment for being my canary. A simple trade-off. Now go see your antique seller. I still got things to settle with Irene.